A-Mac back with Let's Be Honest Sports. Colleague Colin Shot in the house. We were supposed to have
Shot Town.
Ooh, I like it. All right, so we were supposed to have a guest picker, a close friend of ours. But guess what? If you say you're going to come on the show and you don't show, you don't get another invite. So that's twice now in the past 3 weeks.
Ain't gonna mention any names, but you know who you are.
Yeah, we're not gonna mention any names, but like you said, you know who you are. Is what it is. If you don't want it, don't come. But we're here to take over everything. We ain't your regular talk show. We're here to fuck shit up, drink beer, all that good shit.
If it's your first time watching, like it, subscribe,
share.
We're new, but hey, we're trying to grow.
Also on Instagram, our name is @Let'sBeOnSports. I want to tell everybody we do still have a good bit of shirts left. Anybody who wants some, DM us, message us. We'll be sure to get them to you. It doesn't matter where you are. We will ship. It may cost a little extra depending on where you are. Just wanted to throw that out there. Well, we're going to recap on Week 13 of college football, Week 12 of NFL, just real quick.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That is.
Happy Turkey Day, that is.
Is this week.
Yep.
So
tomorrow, depending on when we post this video. Records last week for me in college football was 8-5. I was 6-2 in the NFL. Colin, what you got?
I was 7-5 in college football and 5-3 in the NFL. Right now, we're looking at overall records. Austin's at 69-40, which is a percentage of 63.3%. I'm at 65-38, which is 63.1%.
Man, I thought I edged you. You said.
Yeah, your percentage is higher than me.
Wait, what's my percentage?
It's like 0.2% higher.
Oh, I thought you said 60. You had 65%. My bad. Sorry. Need hearing aids, obviously. All right. So I'm gonna jump into the big upset of the weekend. Was obviously Arizona State and Oregon.
Yep.
Oregon looked pretty outclassed most of the game.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking embarrassing. They tried to make a comeback.
Let's talk about how bad of a decision it was for Justin Herbert to come back. He was projected like the best quarterback last season, and he came back. And he has looked bad this year.
Yeah, well, he was
especially in this game.
I think it was Tom McShay actually had him as the number one quarterback in the draft last year. If he would have entered.
Yep, and he decided to come back, and he's not had a great season. Now, I haven't seen anything impressive.
Put it this way.
This game was not his best.
No, well, put it this way. Joe Burrow has put on such a good season that he is now number one on the draft board as far as quarterbacks go.
I would say Justin Herbert probably.
He's probably out of the
not
top
even,
five.
Yeah, I would say he's out of the first round, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I think he's out of the first round for sure. But, I mean, if you go back to that game, man, you know, we watched a little bit of it.
Actually, we a lot of footage.
Yeah, we did. We went a little live during that game. But I just thought they looked bad most of the game. You know, I really can't say much.
I was impressed by Arizona State's defense.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that they played, I don't know if that maybe just Justin Herbert just playing bad or if it was really Arizona State's defense actually doing well.
Well, the committee definitely got it right. The one thing, in my opinion, that they did get right on these last rankings was as far as they dropped. What they dropped to?
It was
14?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Which is reasonable.
And it should be. I expected them to drop lower than Florida and all those other two lost teams that were up in the close to the top 10. I was like, they definitely need to drop.
And while we touching up on that ranking that they gave them that I agree with, I want us to touch up on the rest of the rankings. And everybody knows me that follows this sports page, knows I'm a Florida fan. But why does Baylor get a five ranking jump for beating fucking Texas?
I can't tell you. I don't know why Oklahoma was at 7 either.
I think look, man, you know, I'm all for it. But look at Baylor's fucking schedule. They've played nobody.
That's the thing is,
and they blew
I think the committee is hyping up the Big 12 so much, and it's I don't think it should be that high.
It's very shitty in my opinion.
Nate, what's your opinion on it? You got a Texas fan, Nate Dogg, in the house. We want to hear his opinion on this Big 12 discussion we got going on with the playoff.
Yeah, the cameraman in this bitch.
I honestly feel like they're trying to keep as little SEC teams out of it as possible. I feel like they're trying to put more of other divisions in it. That's why you're getting more Big 12 teams and the occasional Big 10 team being at number 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why all this talk about Alabama right now is just a placeholder. They don't want to put Bama in. As much as they can, they want to try and keep Bama out. They don't want to have another two SEC team playoff. I mean,
and the thing, my thing is with the playoff rankings is why Penn State is still ranked in the top 10. Everybody seen they were favorable when the first rankings came out. They were at 4th, which is respectable. But now you come back to here. To this week, this past ranking from last night, they lost last week to Ohio State. Really, they were getting outclassed most of the game. They got
dominated.
If it wasn't for their fucking defense, they wouldn't have been close. Sean Clifford had 71 yards passing.
Ohio State made a lot of mistakes.
70 fucking 1 yards passing. But yet, they're better than a fucking 2-loss Florida team whose losses are to LSU and Georgia. Lost by 7 to Georgia, and anybody who's seen the LSU game can make an argument that it was way closer than 2 touchdown loss. And both of those games were on the road. Keep in mind. And yeah, I'm a Florida fan, huge Florida fan, and I'm not really trying to be biased on it, but it's kind of bullshit. I know it's not the final rankings, but you still got 2 ranking shows left. One next Tuesday. Then you got the final rankings, I believe, will be the Sunday following championship Saturday. So, you know, it is what it is. Kobe, take that dog outside. Fuck, man.
But I also, on another note, I also think that Texas beating Georgia in the Sugar Bowl last year has a big effect on it, where they think that the Big 12 and anybody else can compete with the SEC teams, which is obviously that was a fluke, a super fluke from last year.
Well, I told Colin
Texas is a 6-5 team.
I told Colin last year he was all hyped up on Georgia because they didn't make it to, they lost in the SEC title game. He was all cocky saying that they were going to beat the shit out of Texas. I was like, no, because they made it to the national championship the year before. It's going to be a letdown to them. And they're going to come out flat and not ready to play. And they sure proved that because that wasn't the Texas or
right.
Oklahoma. Goddamn.
Texas.
That wasn't the fucking Georgia team that played all year.
Which I completely agree with what y'all say every week and say the Big 12 is super unpredictable because you have Oklahoma losing Kansas State, Texas beating Kansas State, Texas losing to Baylor, and all that. So it's super unpredictable.
Now, I'm not saying that the Big Ten has a solid year this year all around. I think they're doing pretty well. The SEC looks like moderate. It's the same teams that usually show up every year. Yeah, all it is Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. It's the same 4 teams usually year in, year out. One of the 2 teams that will really have the main slip-ups here and there is probably Auburn and Florida, I would say. Georgia occasionally, but as far as the 4 most consistent SEC teams are that, and then Texas A&M, you can't forget about them. They just play a fucking gauntlet of a schedule every year.
Yeah, they had
I mean, for Jimbo Fisher to come in and take over that team, it's really rough. But the playoff rankings, I know I said it.
But you gotta think too, A&M didn't win any of those games either, though. Like all of their big games, they lost.
They've lost,
which looks bad on Jimbo Fisher, but
no,
I mean, he still got some time.
I really wouldn't say it looks bad on Jimbo Fisher because it's only his second year, and to produce a 7-3 record, I believe they have now.
No,
was it 7-4?
Since they lost.
It was 7-4. No, they've got 7 wins this year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I know they have 4 losses because they lost to Auburn, they lost to Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia.
All right, so they're 7-4. Potentially could go 8-4 if they upset LSU, which is highly unlikely. But as far as the playoff rankings, I'm not anybody. I think Ohio State's great, but to fucking.
To
I
jump
know
LSU,
it's 1-2, but it's kind of like a disrespect to LSU. Like, hey, fuck you.
What else can they do?
Exactly. That's the biggest question. I mean,
they have the best resume out of anyone else in college football.
and the strength of record, I think, is their or strength of schedule rather is 35th. Ohio State's is 45th. But if you look at their LSU's wins, Alabama, Florida, Auburn, Texas, nobody expected Texas to spiral like they have this year. Because if you look at it, Texas very well could have won that game had they not dropped a wide open touchdown early in that game.
Yeah.
But still, that record looks good. But they definitely gave Baylor a hell of a jump. I feel like they're trying to stir the fucking pot a lot.
Yeah.
Because more than likely it's going to be Oklahoma versus Baylor for a rematch in the Big 12 championship. And I think Oklahoma still wins it, but it's still going to be sloppy. I think they're going to play with a little bit more chip on their shoulder, even with them having to come back from 25 points. Which
Jalen Hurts is
the fact that they blew that 25-point lead, come back and beat Texas, and for Baylor to jump as far as they have, it's bullshit. It's kind of disrespectful to a lot of other teams, but Utah's defense looks pretty good for what it's worth. I know they play in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And me personally, I know I've harped on it a lot, saying there's no way if Alabama loses to LSU, they're gonna get it. Like, there's no way they get in. But if Utah fucks around and loses,
The Oregon in the Pac-12.
I think Alabama has to beat Auburn by at least 40 points for them to make a case without.
Yeah, I mean,
It would have to be nothing less than 40 points to say, hey, they're good as fuck with Mac Jones too.
Yeah.
That's the only way, because Auburn, regardless of how Auburn is on offense, their defense is fucking the best in the country, one of the best.
Yeah.
Especially that D line. So you say
it's gonna be frustrating to me just seeing Oklahoma at that 7th spot after this week.
yeah,
And like you see Utah at 6. Yeah, Utah and Oregon, they're gonna battle it out in the Pac-12 championship game. I mean, I don't know. I felt like Oregon was better coming into this week until I saw them lose to Arizona State. Utah's been pretty dominant since they lost to USC, but the Pac-12 is just not good. So you don't know what to think about any of those teams.
And the USC loss looks better now that they're ranked.
Yeah.
They've been playing better, but that's
like,
all they got to show for it. And then as the committee, you put them in. Let's say Georgia loses to LSU and the top 3 stays the same. They come in. They play a Clemson team. Well, now it'd be 1 versus 4. So they play LSU or Ohio State.
No, that's going to be another blowout game. Another Notre Dame 30-3 game that we would see.
And it's going to be. I think it's going to be sloppy, man. It's not going to be good for Utah because where were they last year?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
they were decent.
They were elite.
This. Yeah. But my point was like,
if
they were to lose to Oregon, then that's going to bump Oklahoma obviously up to that 4th spot. Oklahoma just doesn't deserve it. Like every single game, yeah, they only have 1 loss, but every single game in the past 4 weeks, they've won by 1 point or 3 points or whatever here and there. And they're playing these Big 12 teams that are so hit or miss. And I feel like the committee is just convinced in trying to give Big 12 so much credit, and they just don't. Honestly, in my opinion, they just don't deserve it. I feel like to have an argument to be in the top 4, you got to have somewhat of a defense. I mean, people could argue about LSU, but they have the offense that can basically surpass the not having a great defense.
Right, and then let's face it, Clemson's just been sitting in there doing their thing. They started off the season really shitty, but then they started doing what they were supposed to do.
After that scared of North Carolina.
Yeah, so they picked it up. They're the defending champions, especially after what they did to Alabama in the championship game last year. They deserve that spot now because they picked it up. Rather.
Yeah.
But the last thing I'm gonna touch on with the rankings, and then we'll move on to this week's games is if LSU. All right, so you got Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, and Georgia. Say all those teams win the games this weekend, and then next weekend you come championship week. If LSU and the rankings stay the same, I say top 4 stays the same. If LSU and Georgia meet and LSU loses by a field goal, I still think they're in.
Oh, for sure.
And if they're
I
not,
think LSU's in even if they lose by a touchdown.
Yeah, and if they're
even
not,
if Georgia seems dominant the whole game.
I'll be honest with you, if they're not in, there's gonna be some fucking shit going on. They will have no
not around here.
Yeah, I don't care if Utah goes in and blows out this Oregon team in the Pac-12 or Oklahoma dominates Baylor. LSU still gonna make the playoff. Their resume just calls for I feel like they could literally sit Joe Burrow, lose to Georgia by 10 points, and they should still get in. If anything, I feel like the committee would dock Georgia because of that.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't play one of their star players or something.
And that makes you kind of wonder just about this last week's ranking. They gave Ohio State the nod to number 1 for beating a Penn State team who didn't even throw for over 100 yards passing.
That's another thing. They give way too much credit to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Ohio State, the best game they played is the best team they played is Penn State. Who knows if they're really that
Chase Young
good?
is a fucking animal.
Yeah, Chase Young is great.
Fucking.
And I mean,
dude,
Ohio State's offense
savage.
is great, but who else did they play besides Penn State? Like their resume does not make them a candidate for the number 1 spot at all.
But I will say this: they have dominated every game like they should.
Yeah.
Against the teams they should have. So I could see where they could be number 1, but LSU deserves it just because of that. But that's all I got to fucking say about that bullshit. I thought it was kind of raggedy, but all right. Week 14 college football. Ohio State -8.5. Last I checked. Is that what you got?
That's what I got.
At Michigan. And since Colin was bitching about my fucking over-under, me not picking enough over-under games.
No, that's not what it was.
All right, so fuck off. So I got over-under this game, 50.5. So
You said over. Which one over or under?
no, I'm just saying the over-under is 50.5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So fuck off. I'm not saying I'm picking that, but if I don't pick one this week, Colin's gonna be bitching.
I was never
Like a little
bitching
kid.
about that.
Oh, you can't just pick outright.
I was saying you can't pick outright when somebody's an 18-point favorite because clearly they're gonna win outright.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, unless if it's just some crazy upset.
Hence
But
the
that's
Oregon-
like
hence
me
the
saying
Oregon game.
Clemson's gonna beat South Carolina this week. Duh.
Well,
Clearly.
I mean, they were supposed to. Georgia was supposed to beat South Carolina, but you see what happened there.
Yeah, they were. That's
So with
a
that,
rare occurrence though. Like, and the thing is, the point is when bettors see that, their lines are gonna be like over 1,000, and like you're gonna have to bet so much money just to gain it.
What was the line on that game when they played? You remember?
Which one? Georgia, South Carolina.
Yeah,
21 points.
they got 27.5 on the line for Clemson.
I know.
Muschamp got a way to fire up some boys now.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a
They just
difference.
don't have- they just don't
When
have
you already
the
have one
offense.
upset, I feel like every other Big Ten you play, they're gonna be like ready for that spot, kind of.
I was actually kind of shocked whenever they played Florida. Then what was it the final
Yeah,
week or
they
two?
played good in this Florida.
They played them good in the rain for a little bit, and then Florida just took off. But I was kind of worried about that game. Like, all these fucks gonna come in. But I'm looking in this game personally for Ohio State and Michigan. Is this Harbaugh's year? What is this, 4th year? Is this his year to 4th or 5th year? Is this his year to beat Ohio State? He hasn't beat them yet. And they've only got 2 losses. Yeah, they can't make it to the Big Ten championship this year, obviously, with the 2 losses. But they've got to do something. If they come in and win, that's gonna stir some shit in them rankings.
Oh yeah.
Because
I don't think Ohio State will drop out of the top 4 though.
no, I don't.
They just love Ohio State.
Oh yeah. I don't know what to think of the committee this year. I thought it's been kind of wishy-washy before.
It's been a lot of politics.
This year is rough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. If you're a college football fan, you're thinking, what the fuck is going to go on? What if all the top 4 teams lose? Then what? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
Because they're not giving any respect to the losses that teams have, like as far as the good teams.
They're all worried about who
Georgia's
they
sitting
beat.
there Georgia's sitting there at number 4 with a loss to an unranked South Carolina team who's fucking horrible. And then you got other teams who can't even pass for 100 yards in a game against a fucking Ohio State team. So I don't know, man. But offense for Michigan has been much improved the past 6 games. I mean, it's really taken off. So that's got to be encouraging if you're a Michigan fan. Fucking Harbaugh got Shea Patterson looking good. But I'm thinking for Ohio State, Chase Young is going to fucking feast on this O-line, which he has with every offensive line.
Yeah,
he's definitely number 1 pick. If he doesn't get drafted number 1 overall,
that's a once in a lifetime player.
He's not doing it just here and there. He's doing it every game. He's outclassing everybody he plays against. So that should tell you right
he's
there.
He's definitely a good year.
This is Ohio State's, in my opinion. I said it last week, I believe. Penn State was their biggest test, but this is their biggest test because of
how
hot Michigan is. Exactly. Had they not lost one of those 2 games, this would definitely be for the Big Ten championship. Who decides who goes anyway? But if they lose this game, they could potentially be out of the playoff depending on what happens.
Who's that? Ohio State? I don't think so. I guess depending on the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, but the Big Ten championship, more than likely, it's going to be Minnesota. If I'm not mistaken, the way I look at the standings, Minnesota owns the tiebreaker.
Well, it's between Minnesota and Wisconsin this week. Whoever wins that game goes to the Big Ten championship.
Okay, well, put it this way: if you're a Wisconsin fan, give it the fuck up because you have no passing game.
Yes.
So you don't want to rematch with Ohio State. God, that would be a shit show. My biggest takeaway for this game, and I'm gonna turn it over to you, is Ohio State averages 284 yards rushing per game. That's 4th in the nation, and Michigan's defense is allowing 105 yards rushing per game. But I think they use J.K. Dobbins, get him out in space, and they run the rock a lot in this game. Because I hadn't looked at the weather, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty chilly. I'd imagine in Ann Arbor.
I think it's projected to be 40-something degrees or something.
Okay, that's not as bad as I was thinking. Plus, it's hot down here in South Alabama. It's 75 degrees today.
Yeah.
Humid as fuck.
We don't keep up with that weather up there. We like to stay where we're at.
I would like it to be at least 50, but that shit ain't happening. But anyways, go on with what you got. I'll make my pick short.
I mean, you pretty much said it all. I think the biggest matchup here is how is Shea Patterson going to deal with Chase Young and the Ohio State defense. Harbaugh still has yet to beat Ohio State as a head coach. And that's it's concerning. And this spread at 8.5 points. Michigan, they're a hot team. They probably, to me, have looked the best in the past few weeks. Yeah, please. They probably looked the best to me in the past few weeks, but it's just Harbaugh against Ohio State. He just, it's just. That's almost like his kryptonite. And I just think that, especially with this being at Michigan, I think they're going to put up a fight. Especially just, it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out game. I don't know that Ohio State's going to win by more than 8.5. They showed that they have weaknesses against Penn State. They made their own mistakes. They're going into Ann Arbor, and I mean, anything could happen. So I wasn't comfortable picking against either one of the spreads. I do think Ohio State could cover 8.5, but I don't know how many mistakes they're going to make being at Michigan. But me, so of course I went to the over/under. That was my next go-to, and it's gone over in the last 6 games between Ohio State and Michigan, and also in the last 9 games. Crap, I'm saying that wrong. The last 13 games, 9 of them have gone over for Michigan, and I think their offenses look better these past few weeks. Michigan, I mean, their defense has looked, subpar, but
It's solid.
Obviously,
I think it's solid like it usually is.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously Ohio State does have a really good offense. They got a lot of talent.
I
think this goes over 50.5. That's my pick for this week.
Yeah, Michigan's defense is good, but I don't think it's near as good as it was last year because they lost a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, we're gonna agree on the first pick of the week because I think it goes over 50.
Let's go.
50.5.
Let's go.
I picked the fucking over under for Collins' bitch ass so he quit whining. Well, you only pick the spreads and outright. Well,
Hey, well, you always whine about me always picking the over under, but sorry, it ain't changing.
you're a little bitch. Anyways, but that spread is too risky in this game, especially because you never know.
Yeah.
But
Rivalry.
it's rivalry week. Rivalry week.
Say that 5 times fast. Can't do it.
Can't do it. But anybody who's NBA fans are watching New Orleans, LA at New Orleans, LA Lakers, but just watching it. Anybody who watched this game tonight, I know we're not live, but tell us how you think about the Lakers and Pelican season so far. Pelican season, okay, for what it's worth. No Zion. Lakers, if you're a Lakers fan like me, I'm not a LeBron fan. I've always been a Lakers fan, so everybody can fuck off. But we're 15-2, and we're coming for the fucking crown.
No, I'm kidding. He's actually the only one that's not a bandwagon.
Yeah, so
We got friends that are pretty bad.
fuck off. But anyways, moving on. We both have the over 50.5, which I think is reasonable for sure. I mean, I think it's like the safest bet. And I wish some motherfuckers that are on the set were on the set, but I wish people behind the scenes would quit whispering so fucking loud. They don't know how to whisper, obviously. So I'm sure the fucking mic is picking everything up.
Cut.
So
Move on.
fucking text if you got to. Jesus Christ. Alright, Alabama at Auburn. The fucking Iron Bowl. Alabama, last I seen was last night. Alabama minus 3.5. Collins, you gotta take a piss, but we're not gonna cut it. Let's see if he got minus 3.5 on this one. Son,
Hey.
he does. I'm not reading your shit. Fuck off. I was just reading your spread. All right, so he's got the same spread as me. Over under for this game is 50. He's got 50 as well. My biggest thing on this one is not Jesus. Can Mac Jones handle the pressure of Auburn's defensive line? That's my biggest takeaway. Alabama's got a great D line or offensive line. They always do, but this Auburn front is ferocious. It's the best in the nation, definitely. I mean, if not, it's probably top two. I would say between them and Ohio State. It's a win if you're Auburn. It's a winnable game with Mac Jones at quarterback for Alabama because simply for the fact the two is not there to get it to the best receiving core in the nation. And I don't care who you are, Alabama has the best receivers in the nation. Every receiver starting for Alabama could go first round, without a doubt. They're not even seniors, so that goes ahead and tells you that they'll probably all be going this year. But if you're an Auburn fan, this is not an encouraging fact to hear. I know Bo Nix has only thrown 6 interceptions all year, but he's also only thrown 14 touchdowns all year. But all those 6 interceptions have came against ranked opponents.
I was about to say, let's talk about the teams he's played in, like the teams that he's done good against.
Yeah.
They're like Arkansas, those type of Mississippi State, those type of teams he's done good against.
But those 6 interceptions came all against ranked teams. Mm-hmm. And I think he can be great as a quarterback, but I think he's failing under Malzahn's offense, and I think Malzahn will continue to fail him because you seen what Joey Gatewood did. He said, "Fuck y'all! I'm not." You gave me a couple packages to run. Did it against did it in the A&M game. I think he had 2
Yeah,
touchdown passes.
Yep.
I know he had one. In fact, I'm not saying he fucking threw a 50-yard
Wasn't really
bomb.
Give him the shot.
He did a play action, rolled out, and found him in the end zone. For you to tell a guy that you're gonna fucking throw him more in packages and then kind of abandon it. I tell you what, Joey Gatewood should have showed up in the Florida game.
Oh yeah.
In fact, because that Auburn could have.
I thought that's when Bo Nix would get benched.
Me too.
I was like, look, he's not going to start next game.
Nope. The way he was playing, they weren't fucking doing anything. If it wasn't for the defense flipping the field on a couple turnovers, that game would have been a lot worse than 24-14.
Yep.
But if Bo Nix continues to make bad decisions, it cannot plant the ball in the receiver's chest. For instance, the fucking Georgia-Auburn game. Yeah, the SEC officiating might have missed a fucking completion on that drive, but the 4th and 1 when he threw the ball, I can't remember who went out in the flat for that ball. I know it was a running back.
Yeah, it was a running back. I don't remember who it was. Yeah.
People are like, oh, well, he should have caught it, but if you're fucking running this way and you have to reach all the way back for a fucking 1 yard, literally have to have 1 yard. It was a great play call. I mean, you just gotta make that throw. He could have fucking lobbed it, and he could have just carried it in for a 1 yard gain for a first down to help him.
If Malzahn doesn't make a decision in changing the quarterback, if Bo Nix doesn't improve, Bo Nix is going to be the reason Malzahn gets fired.
No, Malzahn is going to be the reason Malzahn gets fired. And the only reason I say that is because there's nobody behind Bo Nix now that can take over that role.
Yeah.
Because the guy just fucking left.
Yeah. I mean, well,
he just went on a visit to Kentucky. And if Kentucky gets up, Mark Stoops can do more with him.
Oh, yeah. He's going to have a field day with him.
Mark Stoops has done.
He took a dang wide receiver as quarterback, and
they won
a
couple games. Mark Stoops is doing Kentucky a great job. They got all new facilities, and he has made Kentucky, especially after last year, that's the best season they'll probably ever have under him. Probably the best season they'll ever have in general as a football team.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, they're a basketball school.
Yeah.
But
let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest, really. But to let Joey Gatewood just fucking walk away like that, it definitely goes back on coaching. And I'll say this time and time again. I know it sounds kind of biased, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But if it wasn't for old Bo Nix' last name, he would have been benched. Anybody else would have been benched. Yeah. Because they didn't throw in enough packages for Joey Gatewood. He got a couple here and there.
Yep.
He didn't get enough. What did they have to lose though?
Yeah, I mean, now we're not saying, of course, Bo Nix is a terrible player. Like he's gonna get better, but the thing is he makes a great point. Like anybody else would have been benched.
Would have
by the middle of the Florida game. The middle, not even at the end after the game. It would have been in the middle of the Florida game. You say, let's go to the next guy and see if they do any better, because they were still in the game. Just he kept making bad decisions, throwing interceptions, and like something had to be done, and it didn't. And they didn't change anything.
Now, don't get me wrong. There was a wheel route with Sal Cannella that he had wide open up the field. Had he read the fucking high safety and Sean Davis, he probably could have hit Sal Cannella for a touchdown. But instead, he said, fuck the safety and seen him wide open. And Sean Davis jumps the route, one hand picks.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was a good play.
I mean, it was a great play, but terrible read.
Yep, but he threw
two
more red zone picks.
Yeah, he threw it right to Don Steiner and one of them. But I'm not saying I could go out there and do better, because that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying
we're trying to point out things of how teams can improve, pretty much.
But it's kind of frustrating, really, to see a quarterback who has potential, and he showed flashes of it on the comeback attempt against Georgia. He can be good. I just think he'll be good under somebody other than Gus Malzahn. because he seems kind of set up for failure, kind of like everybody else that's been through there.
Besides, Nick Marshall, I think was the only one.
And Nick Marshall, that was the miracle
But,
season.
I mean, it still wasn't much of him. Like, it was where the offense was set up.
They had the kick six in the Georgia game.
You mean, they had the prayer in the Georgia game and then the kick six in the damn game.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Same shit. Still prayers.
Yeah, pretty much. Jordan here.
Yeah, but that's all I got to say on that one.
So what's your pick?
Also, Saban is 8-4 against Auburn. So
that's not as impressive as I thought.
Yeah, me either. When I read that, I was like, wow. Figured it'd be like 2 losses.
What would
with
it
Cam Newton
at Auburn? I guess probably like 4-2, something like the middle range.
I know. I tried to figure out what the record was, like where, as far as if they were at Bryant-Denny. Obviously, we all know they lost one at Bryant-Denny when Cam was there because it was an epic comeback.
Mm-hmm.
They were down by 24, which is unreal. And then you had the kick six at Auburn. That's 2 of them that I can recall.
I don't know.
And I'm assuming his first year at Alabama. His first year at Alabama, they probably lost it. I know they were 7-5 that year, Saban's year. So, but anyways, I'm not real sure on that. This game is really fucking tricky with Mac Jones because he hasn't been on the road yet. Oh man!
Especially in this huge atmosphere, this huge game against their rival.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Auburn plus 3.5. I think it's fair. Now, if you're an Alabama fan and they come out and blow them the fuck out by 40 points, then you could see a potential playoff appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I would say that, but the way Oregon lost, it gives you a chance. If Mac Jones comes out and fucking handles that D-line like it ain't shit and beats Auburn by 40,
he comes out and plays like a Joe Burrow or something.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a
it
different
could be
discussion.
Also, that would depend on if Georgia loses to LSU, which if they do, then I could see Alabama sneaking in if they blow out Auburn, but I don't see it happening because Auburn's D-line is just too big. I like Auburn plus 3.5.
It's a good pick. I think that's the side I would lean on if I was picking a side. I'm picking the over/under again. But I don't see it with Alabama being a 3.5 point favorite. That's tough because with Mac Jones and just being in the hostile environment at Auburn, I mean, maybe at Bryant-Denny I would take Alabama 3.5, but I just can't do it with Mac Jones and his. I guess you can call it a first true start. I don't even count last week as a start.
I mean, and he's looked great.
Yeah, I mean every time he's gotten in, but also it wasn't like those big circumstances. And I mean, obviously Alabama's gonna be trying to prove a point, so their defense might play better than they ever have, and
keep in mind this Alabama defense is probably one of the worst
they've ever had under Nick Saban.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like you were saying, Auburn's defensive line, their defensive they got good secondary too. Like they're just a good all-out defense. They held LSU, who is arguably the best offense in the country, to 23 points. Granted, LSU could have scored more, but still,
I think
in Baton Rouge,
I think LSU kind of played sloppy that game.
They did, yeah.
I think they were still beat up from the game before. The game before they played Florida, maybe. I don't know, but they were just they didn't seem very good.
Yeah, I mean,
hell, even in that
there was a lot of things in that game that made it a lot closer than what it should have been. There was a lot of calls on the goal line that I remember. There was actually one possession that LSU was literally on the goal line. They scored, but they called it back, said the guy was down because of forward progress, and they went 4 plays, they didn't score, and Auburn got the ball back.
Yeah,
I think in the first half, and I was just like, if they'd have let the play go, that would have been an easy touchdown. LSU would have been up by 10 points there at the end. Plus, they of course ran the ball a few times and needed at the end. They probably could have thrown the ball and got another touchdown there at the end. There's just, regardless, in the first half, Auburn's defense did well. And I think they'll continue to do well against Alabama. They'll give Mac Jones some trouble. If they can hold LSU to 23 points, I think they can hold a backup quarterback in Alabama to probably under 20, maybe. The stakes are high. I would say that they won't score more than 28. And I think Alabama's defense is going to have to make a statement, obviously. And obviously, we know Bo Nix isn't the best quarterback, especially this year. I think they'll be able to hold Auburn to no more than 20 points, and I picked it under 50 points for this game.
I like that under 50 because you ain't got to worry about Bo Nix really fucking running up the scoreboard. But with a backup quarterback for Alabama, I like the pick. But like I said, I'm going plus 3.5 Auburn. I like Auburn to cover that themselves.
I like the too. I mean, they should, for sure.
I think it's a winnable game, man, for Auburn. I really do. I want to pick them to win, but it's just everybody knows it's Alabama. I think they can win the fucking game. I really do.
Especially being at home.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, anytime at Jordan Hare. And Alabama's receivers, I know the stats obviously aren't showing it, but like Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase and what the fuck's the other guy's name? 2000
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, they got them high stats. They're statted up, but they're not better than Judy and Waddle and Devontae Smith. They're not. There's a reason why those cats are projected first round.
Joe Burrow's hitting windows. That's what's giving them so many.
Now Joe Brady, offense coordinator for LSU's fucking turned that offense around. Last year, they were fucking night and day.
Everybody talked so much crap about Joe Burrow, and
I know it would be nice.
He turns it around to a Heisman season.
And honestly, it's kind of hard not to give him the Heisman. Because who else you got?
Especially at this point, yeah. Jalen Hurts is way too turnover prone.
Yeah, well,
who's hurt?
Jalen Hurts, he could have fucking made a very good case after the Texas game. Then it's like slowly he had a fumble lost in that Texas game, but he's turned into more of a fumble guy than an interception guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's thrown like 5 interceptions this year, which isn't.
I think he had like 3 turnovers against Baylor in the first half.
Yeah. I mean,
it was awful.
I don't know. And then he threw a pick six, fucking 96-yard pick six against TCU.
Yeah.
That was fucking. I think the corner just made a good play on that one. He jumped the route pretty well. It was a slant going towards the end zone, like 5-yard slant. But that's all I got on the Auburn game. Wisconsin at Minnesota. Wisconsin minus 2.5. You got minus 2.5?
I got -3.
-3. Fuck it, close enough. Over under is 46.5.
That's what I got.
This is pretty reasonable.
This is a battle for the.
This is a battle of
the other side of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
To play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
If you're Minnesota, you need to win this game because Wisconsin's not gonna even touch Ohio State. I personally think Minnesota has a better chance at Ohio State than Wisconsin does for a second chance.
Got better offense.
Yeah, and my thing is with that is Wisconsin played a fairly decent first half against Ohio State. They just could not pass the ball.
Yeah.
They couldn't run it, nor could they, which they rely on the run game, obviously with Jonathan Taylor. But they're so turnover prone.
So when you're one-dimensional against a good defense like that, it's going to be easy to exploit those.
Especially when it's a traditional run game, like dive the middle. You're just trying to go power against power.
That's like
load the box, load the box, and trust your DBs if it's a play.
I think that's like a reason that Georgia has so much trouble now is because like people know pile the box and that's they're forcing them to
beat you with the receiver.
Yep.
And
that's not modern day football.
No, not anymore. It's spread the motherfuckers out, get them in space.
Yep.
But Wisconsin is very turnover prone. Especially Jonathan Taylor this year. I mean, we've been talking about how great he is. He has 5 fumbles this year, and he's lost all 5. So,
yeah, Wisconsin ranks second to last in the country in turnovers.
Yeah.
Not just like force, like they just out and out drop the ball. Like
keep in mind, 13 fumbles as a team lost.
That's awful.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to win this game putting the ball on the ground.
Minnesota's proved they don't have a terrible defense either.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, and Tanner Morgan for Minnesota needs to have another big day like he did against Penn State. Against Penn State, he was 18 for 20 for 339 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you're that efficient, I mean, it's got W written all over it.
Yep.
As long as your defense gets a couple stops.
Yep.
That's all you need. And they got a good bounce back win after losing to Iowa. They played Northwestern last week. I mean, which
That surprised me in that game.
yeah, I mean, everybody thought them to kind of lay down.
I thought it was a letdown game.
Yeah, me too. Just like a normal Big Ten team would do. I mean, not trying to say that they always do that, but especially a team like Minnesota who hasn't been to the top in a very, very long
I
time.
haven't got any respect for sure.
They gained my respect for sure. Do I think they win this game? Yes. I'm taking them outright because of the spread with Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I don't know. It's really a tough game, but I know Jack Cohn from Wisconsin, he can't fucking throw the ball.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Sean Clifford for Penn State. He proved that. He
looks good against bad teams.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty
Yeah.
much. When he plays a good defense.
Yeah.
Once he can't run off that play action, it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Which Jonathan Taylor has over 1,600 yards rushing on the season, which is fucking outstanding regardless of how you look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he might have not ran that well against
I think
other
he
teams.
just got the record for career rushing yards for like through his junior season or something like that.
I'm sure
he did that last
he's
year.
been really fucking wild.
Yeah.
Except for against Ohio State. But everybody knows that. And another fact to keep in mind for Minnesota, with Jonathan Taylor coming to town, their defense allows 123 rush yards per game, which is pretty high if you look at it ranking wise in the nation.
Yeah.
It's pretty high.
Yeah.
Not saying, I mean, with a traditional run game, Wisconsin has that run game like they had at LSU a couple years ago, where it's just like fucking load up, power against power, I formation. Leonard Fournette will run it down your throat, or Darius Guys, and we'll test you. But you seen how that worked against Alabama? Fournette had like 20 yards rushing that game. So that traditional old school power against power, when you play a good defense, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Minnesota's defense is great, but I like Minnesota to win this game.
It's a good pick. I think if I had to pick one way, it would definitely be Minnesota, especially being at home. The way they played against Penn State at home, I was amazed. I'm sure most of the country was amazed by how they played against Penn State. The biggest thing in this game that I saw when I was doing my research was the weather for that game. It could be snowing.
No, okay.
With 17-mile-per-hour winds. And then I feel like with that, it's going to force these guys to run the football. And I think Wisconsin might win the run battle just because they have Jonathan Taylor and like the better O-line. But
Right.
I still had Minnesota +3. I think they will get it done, but I can't pick them outright just because of the weather conditions. Also, Wisconsin's 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games, and Minnesota is 6-1-1 against the spread in the last 8 games. So I like Minnesota's chances in that. I think they win this game. They go in and play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. But my pick is the Minnesota +3 points, just because that weather kind of scares me. It makes me think that Tanner Morgan might obviously both Aubusons are going to struggle in the pass game if it's snowing and those kind of winds.
What was the winds on that one?
17 mile per hour.
Yeah, that could be definitely a big factor. Squeeze me. Cincinnati at Memphis. Memphis minus 11. Over under at 57. What you got on that?
Which one did you say? Memphis is minus
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Over under 57?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that game will be played on this Friday, the 29th at 2:30 Central Time. Cincinnati's passing offense, not very good. By any fucking stretch. Their Now, granted, their only loss is to Ohio State, 42-0,
Yeah.
for a fucking good reason.
But they have struggled in recent weeks.
So,
What was that?
what you got, Nate? You got it fucking blocked
Surprise.
off, eh?
Uh,
Okay. Alright.
It is what it is.
Tell you what it is. We're gonna run through this motherfucker.
This is AAC.
Yeah, yeah. American Conference, whatever. Memphis wins this, and they're in the conference championship, but they gotta win. If not, Cincinnati slides through. Desmond Ritter for fucking Cincinnati wasn't very efficient last week. Not really a wow factor, as I would call it.
The past 2 weeks.
Really, probably all season. Put it this way: Cincinnati averages 179 yards passing a game,
Yeah, it's not-
and they average 197 on the ground. So if that team, there's a reason why they're ranked one spot behind Memphis in the rankings. Memphis is 18, Cincinnati's 19. But Brady White, quarterback from Memphis, is a fucking stud. He has over 3,000 yards passing and 30 touchdowns on the year. So I expect Memphis to cover that -11, and I think they'll win convincingly, just because of Cincinnati's offense is just not. I don't know. I really don't know how they've won as many games as they've won this year.
I like that pick. I think so too. Yeah, talking about Desmond Ryder, I know you said he struggled last week. I think last week he was 9 for 25, and then over the past 2 weeks he's 18 for 43 for only 140 yards for the past 2 weeks total. That's terrible.
That's really awful.
Yeah, and I mean it's not like they played these great teams either. I think who they played last week? It was Temple. They played Temple, and then won because of a block
Yeah.
PAT, and they ran it back for
Yeah.
2 points.
So keep in mind the score was 15-13.
Yeah, I mean,
And for the over/under being 57, I would not be surprised if Memphis had 52 and
Cincinnati had
had like 7.
Yeah, yeah. I also I have Memphis straight up, but I think I'm gonna switch that to also Memphis. I think they're gonna cover the -11 because they've scored over 42 points in their last 5 games, and their defense is starting to do a lot better.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati, if I remember right, they struggled against USF, and last week Memphis just wore USF out.
Oh yeah.
USF only scored 10 points against Memphis, and this Memphis defense has never been one to brag about. But they've looked better in recent weeks, so I think Memphis covers that easily.
Also, I've been looking at recent bowl projections. At this rate, I know the Cotton Bowl is not a New Year's Six bowl anymore, because obviously Florida will get fucked out of that with these rankings. But they've got Memphis projected to play Florida in the Cotton Bowl as the latest bowl
That'd
projection.
be interesting.
That would be interesting. Bunch of speedy fuckers out in space against a stout defense. I would love to see that.
I'd love to see it like a UCF game.
It would be different, just because as a Florida fan, the past couple years, Florida has played Michigan in the kickoff game and 2 times in a bowl game in the past 6 years. I don't want to fucking see Michigan anymore.
Yeah.
Done. Fucking those motherfuckers. What'd you say, Nate?
Where's it gonna be at?
Where? The Cotton Bowl?
If it's Florida and Memphis.
Somewhere in where the fucking Cotton Bowl's at?
Yeah.
Arlington?
Maybe they don't.
Hold on. Look it up. Where is Cotton Bowl? Cotton Bowl, I think it's just a
Or
stadium.
is it Fiesta Bowl? It's in
No, Fiesta Bowl's in Arizona at Cardinals.
Oh, is it? Okay. I knew it was something like that.
But, all right.
I don't ever really remember what
So our college football quick picks. Clemson minus. What you got?
Dallas.
It's in Dallas.
So it's an
which
it's an
the Cowboy-
unnatural
yeah.
to both of the teams.
So keep in mind, it's not at Cowboy Stadium, the Cotton Bowl. The Cotton Bowl is in Dallas. Cowboy Stadium is in Arlington.
Right.
Which Cotton Bowl is kind of like the Rose Bowl, how old the stadium is. It's fairly old. It hadn't changed much, really. But all right, so our college football quick picks. Just gonna roll right through these. Clemson minus 27.5 at South Carolina. The over under is 50.5. I think it'll be South Carolina will kind of hang around for a little while. I'm starting to wonder when his last game is, because I don't even think South Carolina's bowl eligible. Look up South Carolina's record, Nate. I think
losing
I
to
think
App State.
I think they've got 5 wins.
So this will be 4.
I mean, because if you're looking at it as a South Carolina fan, you're like, "Fuck, we beat Georgia." Yeah, it was an upset, but we can't like at least get bowl eligible.
Yeah, we can't be.
They're 4-3 right now.
Yeah.
Well,
4-3.
Well, they already lost.
No. The record's got to be different than that. That's only 7 games.
4-3 in the SEC.
4. Yeah, you probably got the SEC.
No, they ain't won 4 games in the SEC though.
No.
Overall, they're 4-7.
All right,
Okay.
that's more like.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be
Conference-wise, they're 4-3.
All right. So they've won 4 fucking conference games. That's impressive. That's probably the only reason why Muschamp will still have a job.
Especially the upset.
God, imagine. Jesus. But yeah, this game isn't going to be fucking close. Maybe in the first quarter. But I like the over and I like Clemson big.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Clemson. I got them covering 27.5 points. Clemson has looked tremendous since that North Carolina game, and Trevor Lawrence has really stepped up since all the talk about him not playing well. South Carolina's also struggling in the run game. You saw their success those little couple of weeks, especially when they beat Georgia. They had a good run game, and the past 2 games they've been awful running the football. They lost to App State and Texas A&M. So yeah, I got Clemson covering 27.5 points.
I like that pick, son. I like it a lot. All right, so Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Oh man, this is
gonna be a tough one. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Thanksgiving Day, Egg Bowl.
Yeah, Egg Bowl, son, at 6:30.
These teams hate each other.
And they do, and they will fuck each other up.
Yeah.
Mississippi State's a minus 2.5. They're playing in Starkville. Over under is 58. I think that's reasonable, but I don't trust fucking Mississippi State's offense to even put up any points.
Yeah.
The way Plumlee played against LSU, now, I know LSU likes to get a little bit careless on defense when they start running away with the scoreboard on offense.
Yeah.
But fuck me, that boy was running, son. I like Ole Miss outright this game because Joe Moorhead took over a position that he had to fulfill. In other words, what I mean by that is Dan Mullen took that team to as high as they will ever go.
Yep.
If you're a Mississippi State fan, Dan Mullen took that team to his best. He had them at number 1 in the college football playoff rankings at one point with Dak Prescott at quarterback.
I can't believe that.
And then Alabama came into town and let you know the 3 and 4 stars can't hang. That stars actually matter at some point.
When you
I think Alabama won that game. I want to say Alabama won that game 30-3, 40-3.
I don't remember, but
Mississippi State didn't even put a fucking touchdown on the board. I know that, and it was kind of bad. I mean, they just got out of class. So that if you're Joe Moorhead, you're kind of thinking to yourself like, "Fuck, I gotta win this game at least." Because they lost to fucking Kansas State. Kansas State's not a bad team, but you just don't. Especially in the regular season, you don't lose to out of conference games. You can't.
Was that game at home? I think it was.
They were
lost Kansas State at home.
It's starting. And I watched it, and they ended up benching the fucking starter.
Yeah.
And he was balling, but apparently he still wasn't the guy. So, but I'm taking Ole Miss outright because Joe Moorhead. He's not the guy for Mississippi State. Only reason I say that is because Dan Mullen knows how to take guys with lesser stars and lesser talent and develop them better. And I fucking hate that, but that's just how he is. He will take a drop in the fucking recruiting rankings to develop a guy. but unfortunately, you can't win big games like that. So we will take our 2 losses every year and be okay. But ooh, we got this one's a tough one. You didn't pick on this one?
No, not yet.
Oh,
But,
my bad. Sorry, I was running away.
at first I had the under for that game because I thought both teams had really good run game, or they not had really good run games, but like they like to force running the football. And I thought that was just gonna be like a running game battle type thing. But I mean, it's a rivalry game, so you never know. Especially with the over under, it could be a blowout one way. It could be just high scoring or low scoring. So like, actually on the way here, I thought to switch my pick to also Ole Miss straight up, just because I like Ole Miss's trend. I mean, they haven't won a lot of games, but over the past few weeks, exactly, they've played very well, like higher than what their potential is. I think they've covered a lot of spreads lately. I think they lost to Auburn by 6 points. They put up over 400 something rush yards against LSU. I know it's not saying much for the LSU defense, like you said.
They just fuck off after they're like, oh fuck, we won the game.
Yeah.
It's just watching them. It's like they don't give a fuck, and I feel like that's part of the reason why they let Ohio State jump on them, just because how many points they give them.
Yep. I think the committee sees that the defense lets up so many points, and they're like, okay, well, we haven't seen that out of Ohio State. So, but anyways, I got Ole Miss outright in that game.
Also, about that game, I just want to throw in there, Ole Miss is still not able to play in a bowl game, so I think they only have 4 or 5 wins anyways, so not that it would necessarily matter, but after all that incident, that bullshit with Hugh Freeze and all that, I think they still have a year or 2 after this before they can even go to a bowl game or any.
Yeah. How many years? I think it's like 3.
Yeah, so I think next year will be the last year.
I think next year.
So imagine having to get fucking guys to stay and recruit guys like, hey, look, man, I know it's your last year at Ole Miss, but you want to stay even though you can't play in a fucking bowl game next year?
Yeah, that's tough.
Florida got a guy, Van Jefferson, who's a senior now. He was a junior last year for Florida. He transferred from Ole Miss. Solid guy. His dad's a fucking receiver coach in the NFL. Keep in mind, I know I'm talking a lot about Florida, but it pisses me off. Freddie Swain, Van Jefferson, and Josh Hammond, all senior wide receivers, are going to the East-West Shrine game. Fuck off, guys. Mobile is 30 minutes from me. Why can't you go to the Senior Bowl?
That's how it always goes.
3 fucking senior wide
Must just be like
receivers.
an SEC thing. Because I've had issues with that too. When Georgia had their national championship run, we had so many seniors on the team.
If you look at the
There was one that went.
If you look at the followers from the East-West Shrine Game account to the fucking Reese's Senior Bowl account, Senior Bowl's got them beat.
Oh, for sure.
Fucking it's bullshit.
Until I see people going to the East Shrine game, I'm like, what even is that?
I don't even know where it's at.
I don't either.
I think it's in a pro stadium. I mean,
Probably.
now the Senior Bowl's not in the greatest location. Let me keep in mind that. I mean, it's a pretty bad shithole, but
Yeah.
the field's nice.
All
Alright, Texas A&M at LSU. LSU minus 16.5. Over under 62. Is that what you got?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good, but if I know LSU's defense is not as good as Georgia's, but fuck, dude, that's a kind of high scoring game right there. I like the spread for LSU, but their defense, like I said, once they get to scoring, their defense is kind of like, fuck, we don't have to play anymore. They kind of got that Big 12 mentality, like we'll just outscore everybody. And I think LSU's got a good defense. It's just this year they're not used. I don't think they've ever been used to an offense. This is the best offense to ever come through LSU.
Yep. It's like they're,
as far as I can remember,
they're happy with the comfortability, kind of. Like they just they'll play when they have to. If not, they're just gonna be like, okay, offense, you got it. Like take care of us, like give us the win, and we're just gonna coast until we actually need to play.
Yeah, and now I know whenever they played Alabama had Tua, and they put up 41 points on them. But did you see the score at halftime? It was like 34-13.
When they need to, they get it done.
Yeah, they're like, all right, so we're just gonna score fucking 13 more points after halftime and just cruise our own way to the W. It's kind of dangerous to play like it. They kind of let the foot off the gas on defense, and that should be worried. They should be worried about that. At least fans should be come playoff time, because once you play a high potent offense, which Alabama was too, but they just came on too little, too late.
I heard a stat. Every year since the playoffs started, the national champion has always had a offensive and defensive efficiency in the top 10 of the country, and LSU's defensive efficiency was lower than the top 25 before they played Ole Miss.
So
after letting up after that they let up 400 something yards and 20 something points to Ole Miss. It's probably even lower now.
What's his name? Jake Plumlee? Is his name Jake?
I know it's Plumlee. I don't know.
Yeah, Plumlee. I think his name is Jake. Anyways, he was the offensive freshman of the week. Congrats to him. Well deserved. But I'm taking LSU. I'm taking LSU with the points, minus 16.5. I think that's reasonable. I think LSU will cover it unless Kellen Mond just comes out and starts actually showing some sense of accuracy. I thought Kellen Mond was in for a great year. I thought he could have beat Clemson, but he missed a ton of big throws in that game earlier this year. Early in the game. He missed several guys that probably could have went for 6. And ever since that game, kind of just went downhill every time they played a fucking big team. But Jimbo's got the fucking another top 3 recruiting class coming in more than likely this year. They'll be okay. He's getting those cats in. He's getting them to buy into his way. Yeah. It takes a while to rebuild a program. It'll
be interesting when Texas A&M comes to be one of those big head honchos in the West. It's like Auburn and Bama and LSU. There's going to be a lot of teams in the West now that are up for.
Yeah, and they will be because they also don't forget they added on to their stadium this year, or during the offseason this past year, where they can hold more people than they did the year before.
They already got one of the best home field.
Yeah, exactly. I think they added the stands into one end zone because I know I want to say they were both open, or one was kind of. I know they added some more. Either way, I think they added 20,000 seats maybe.
Jeez, that's a lot.
And that was in the offseason, this past offseason. So, and when he came in, he already had a top 3 recruiting class last year. And for people to say that shit don't matter, it does in the long run once you come against big teams. Yeah. It'll pay off for him. I think Jimbo will be okay. He's just in the West is so fucking tough.
So you got LSU?
I got LSU to cover that 16.5.
I think they should also. The only thing that concerns me is late in games, Kellen Mond has a habit of picking it up and scoring points at the end and basically covering the spread when they know they're going to lose, almost. He just does great, once the end of the game comes, and
piss break, motherfucker!
They'll end up covering their side of the spread. That's why I didn't pick LSU with the points this game. I don't know how the over-under was only 62 points. I mean, you got an LSU team that averages over probably 40 points a game, and Texas A&M, who isn't, they're not a terrible offense, and LSU's defense is just terrible. So I think this easily goes over 62 points. I think this is an easy 40-something to 20-something game, or even a 50 to 20-something game. I think LSU will obviously win. I don't know if they're going to cover 16.5 points because of that late Kellen Mond comeback type of mentality, but I think this will easily cover over 62 points in that over-under. So that's my pick for this game. So up next, we have Iowa State at Kansas State. Iowa State is the favorite at 4.5 points. The over-under is 46.5 in this game. I struggled when I was looking up stuff for this game. This is another one of those Big 12 matchups where you never know. It doesn't matter who's the home team. It doesn't matter who has, the better history with defense. It doesn't matter what it is. Big 12 is just so hit or miss, especially this year. Iowa State and Kansas State, they both have, I would say, decent defenses. Kansas State probably has the better defense, but 46.5 is the over and under. Iowa State at 4.5-point favorite on the road against Kansas State. I literally could not come up with a pick for this game. I don't have a pick for this game because I struggled so hard trying to figure this out, and I gave up. I was like, if it takes me this long to determine which team I want to pick, I'm going to stay away from it, just to help people out. I'm going to say, look, I'm going to stay away from it. I'm not going to show my confidence for either one of these teams and just stay away from it.
So you doing no pick at all?
I'm not doing a pick for this game. I can't. Not for the Big 12. It's.
Ooh, the next game we're gonna pick is the one I would stay away from. But this one, I could see it going over 46.5. So I'm gonna take the over on this one. I think it's very reasonable. Just for the sole fact is their offense, both offenses for this team aren't powerful like they usually can be. That's the reason I'm gonna take the over. Or I'm sorry. Decline the under 46.5.
No. The offense.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, coach. All right, well this game coming up, Oklahoma minus 13.5 at Oklahoma State, over under 69.5.
Yeah. Old
69.5 is the over. And they got Oklahoma sitting at a minus 13.5. Kind of ballsy, if you're a bettor, to take this one. This is my game where I'm like, fuck me, I don't know what to pick. Man, Oklahoma, all their games lately, they've been, for instance, last week, what was it, 28 points against a mediocre TCU? They hadn't really, when's the last time they scored 40?
Iowa State, I think. Yeah, Iowa State, and they won.
Yeah, they won
1 point.
1 point.
42-41.
Okay. They don't have many games on the resume. What you got on this one, Colin?
I got some good factoids for
Factoids.
this game. So I'm gonna let you finish.
Factoids. No, go ahead. I want to hear these factoids.
Well,
I've already got my pick on this game, so.
I mean, we all know Oklahoma's defense is trash. I mean, Oklahoma State's.
Well, they had us fooled early. Besides the Houston game, after the Houston game first in the year, they went on a pretty good stroll, and then they played Texas. They looked pretty good against Texas on defense, and then like the past 4 games, they looked pretty shitty.
Yep.
Pretty fucking shitty. And one of those 4 games, the last 4 games, was a loss to Kansas State. Probably should have lost to Iowa State.
Should have lost to Iowa State. They should have lost to Baylor, clearly, with 25 points. Who else? I mean, TCU, they struggled this week. It's like every team that they have played that has a somewhat decent defense is the team that just may or may not beat them. May or may not, that they have struggled with pretty much. Which is what concerns me about Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State doesn't have the best defense. But when I was looking at things about this game, Oklahoma State's been the underdog only twice this year and covered in both of those games. With Oklahoma being a 13.5-point favorite, that's big. That's a big favorite.
For the way they've been playing.
Exactly. Immediately when I saw it, that struck me. I said, whoa, how? Especially it's at Oklahoma State. It's a big rivalry game.
Last 3 games have been decided by 4 points or fewer.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a big rivalry. Oklahoma's been struggling. I don't know why in the world there's 13.5 points favored towards Oklahoma. And the fun fact is since 2016, Oklahoma State is 9-3 straight up and 11-1 against the spread in the last 12 games as the underdog. since 2016.
Big old factoids for your factual information.
So,
Fuckers.
in case you haven't picked up, I got Oklahoma State covering 13.5 points against this mediocre Oklahoma defense.
Yeah, mediocre. That is. Great pick, but I'm going Oklahoma outright because I don't trust neither of these fucks this year. I mean, really, for it to be 69.5, for the over-under is kind of fucking retarded, just like the spread is at 13.5.
Yeah.
So I'm going Oklahoma outright. All right, jumping in, I added this one to the quick pick. I think I forgot to tell you. Florida State and Florida. Just wanted to drop
Oh
that.
my goodness.
Dude, fuck off.
Well, who's gonna win that game?
Oh yeah, well we know Florida minus 17.5 at home. Over under 53.5, which is kind of interesting.
Florida's covering. There's my pick.
Well, you got me. Florida State.
Hey, cameraman talking to you.
I need a refill.
I need a ice.
All right, well, Colin just made his pick on that game. I just wanted to toss that in there for anybody who gave a fuck about Florida State. Not really Florida. Because,
Yeah, go on, dude.
let me get the rare. No, because everybody knows what's going to happen. But, I like Florida to cover, which I never picked for them fucks. So they probably won't cover just because I picked it. But, Saudi is letting some nose down. Alright, so I'm going to go straight into our dark horse picks. Colin, you got any dark horse picks?
I got 2.
Pussy. I got 3 because I'm a bad motherfucker. I'm going to go through these real quick. Sorry we've been stuck on college football. We were just kind of pissed off about the rankings. It does not matter because you want them to know why. Because it's Thanksgiving break. To some people, I hope. Shout out to everybody who has to work tomorrow. I got Miami for one of my dark horse picks. Well, I don't have Miami as my dark horse pick. Dark horse game. Miami minus 9 at Duke. Over under for that game is 46.5. I'm taking Duke plus 9 because of the shit show Miami put on last weekend.
That was embarrassing.
It would, for as well as Miami started playing their last couple games to go in and play FIU like they did. Jaron Williams coming off a bye week, and the week before that bye week, he had threw for a Miami record 6 touchdowns. So I'm thinking, they were playing very well as a team compared to what it was. I'm like, all right, they're turning around. Then they come into FIU. It's 13-0 in the third quarter, and you got guys hitting the gas up on a fucking sideline. You're losing 13-0. You done went for it on several 4th and 1s that game and fucking did not get it. Or several 4th downs, I should say. I'm pretty sure both of them, or 3 of them are 4th and 1. I'm not going to really fact check that, but I'm almost positive there was 2. One was at the fucking goal line. And now FIU did have a player drop right before that 4th and goal, just out of the blue.
Yeah, we were watching that.
And then another 4th down, another one did the same thing. That should have been an automatic fucking touchdown. Like, that should be a flat, especially if it's on the goal line, should be an automatic touchdown.
Like Notre Dame did like 4
yeah,
times.
it's fucking horseshit. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but I think Miami wins close, but I like Duke plus 9. Plus 9.
Where's that game at?
At Duke. Wherever the fuck they play.
I don't know. Duke struggled.
Yeah, they struggled, but
I mean, obviously Miami.
after that shit show, man.
But after that, it just makes me think that they're gonna come back and win this game.
Me
bad.
too.
But we'll see.
I've been rolling. I've been on the Miami bandwagon not this past game against
They're doing
FIU,
well. Yeah.
and I didn't even pick that game last week, and I'm fucking damn sure glad I didn't. It was a shit show.
All right, I guess I'll do one of mine. Actually, did it on the way here because I forgot to again.
Doesn't matter. Fuck it.
For my first one, I have Texas Tech plus 10 against Texas. I mean, Texas hasn't blown out any of their opponents in a while. So I got Texas Tech covering plus 10. Not saying they're going to win. I don't think they will
Sorry
win.
to our cameraman, Nate motherfucking Krabs. He's a Texas fan, but
Especially
we're back.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
By the way, that was Ellinger that said that. Not
Yeah.
Tom Curry.
No, I know. But
Last year the Sugar
last
Bowl.
year
after
was
they
a
beat
fucking
Georgia.
great improvement from Tom Herman's first year, and then now Tom Herman looks like he's still in his first year. So that's why that should just go to show you never go back to coach at your alma mater.
Just don't coach at Texas in general. That's I mean, because there's such high expectations at Texas that they're so hard to attain for all these coaches.
I mean, Texas was good, what,
Well,
10 years ago?
Well, but I will say this. Fucking Dabo, way Dabo Sweetie's been coaching, and Nick Saban, especially Nick Saban, everybody wants that year in, year out performance.
Yep.
And that's what's killing great coaches who seem
Especially
mediocre
at
now.
big
Who seem-
programs like that.
Who
Yeah.
seem mediocre now.
It's because
it's kind of
nowadays you have to.
unfortunate.
Nowadays you
Now,
have
now, granted, dude, if Urban Meyer would have never left Florida, he would have had a dynasty. But he wanted to go coach at his alma mater. That's why he faked that bullshit. So every time I see Urban Meyer with a fucking Georgia or Florida shirt on, fuck off, Urban. No offense, but
Nowadays, you got to go undefeated to get anywhere.
don't leave any doubt in the goddamn committee.
Yep.
All that bullshit.
Just
But
join the ACC or become independent. From the old-
let time out on the ACC. What? Who the fuck is gonna win the Coastal division? I'm about to look this up because Clemson, they're not gonna play anybody to the playoff. Fact.
Big fact.
ACC. Hold on, I'm just gonna fucking click it. I really want to see this.
All right, hour 2. Just kidding.
Fuck off. If y'all want to know some good shit, watch this shit, hey? No, really. The Coastal Division, I think Virginia Tech's gonna fucking win it.
Oh yeah. As long as they win this week to Virginia, I'm pretty sure. Virginia Tech looks good
Hold on.
recently too.
All right, so yeah, Louisville. All right, Clemson's got it locked.
Yeah, as long as they beat Virginia this week.
Yeah, so it's between Virginia and Virginia Tech, and Miami would have probably had a shot had they not lost to. They lost a big game recently. That was a conference game. No, not
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech. They ended up costing them because they lost to Georgia Tech and went on a roll. That's right. FIU game didn't really matter. All right, so the fucking standings, man. Virginia Tech's ranked, so that'll look good if they beat Virginia, and then they'll be sitting at 9-3. Virginia Tech will be sitting at 9-3, going to play an undefeated Clemson team
Get blown out.
and get shit on. Right
It'll
now.
be the best team that Clemson's played. Don't get me wrong, but
besides, I think Texas A&M would beat Virginia Tech because remember they played.
maybe. I mean that might be a good game actually.
I would pay to see it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Actually,
Well,
I wouldn't
My
pay,
second
but
dark
I
horse pick,
wanna see it.
Southern Miss at FAU. FAU's a -9, over under 55. Hunter Martin. I picked against your boys last week. I won. Western Kentucky. I tried to wear my Southern Miss shirt for this show, but it was a little snug because I done put on some LBs. But I'm gonna take your guys to cover this game. That +9. I'm gonna take them against old Lane Kiffin's bitch ass.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not taking Southern Miss for anything else ever again. I hyped them up last week and they played like trash.
Told you can't bet against Western Kentucky. It's something about those fuckers out there. But
No, you just got lucky with it was.
anyways, like I was saying, I'm rolling with the the Southern Miss squad.
I'll stay away
Plus
from them
9.
for the rest of this year. The
Well,
one game we have left.
They will probably go to the New Orleans Bowl depending on how they play in this game. So, which would be like fucking 3 years in a row. It seems like they always
Yeah,
get
I
to
know.
play there.
Yeah, 'cause they all
what-
like to go
you
party
got
over there.
you got another one?
Yeah, I got one more. I got well, let me figure out what this was. Let's go back to I believe it was Nebraska and Iowa. Yeah. I got the under for Nebraska Iowa at 44.5 points. Iowa, I mean we know they had a good defense. Last week they played who was it? Illinois, and I don't think they even broke 30 points. They're playing Nebraska.
Nebraska could go bowling, son. They could go bowling if they win this game.
Wow, I'm proud of them. They're still trash, so they should definitely not score over 20 points against Iowa's defense. Iowa probably won't score over 20 against Nebraska because their offense is terrible. So I think it should be an easy underplay at 44.5 points for that game as well.
Oh, news
Field goal
update
game.
from about 2 hours ago. Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford, a game-time decision against Rutgers.
They're better off with their backup.
Yeah, I mean, their backup were pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't keep him in. Really. Well, let's be real. They're playing Rutgers, which is they're horrible.
It's a scrimmage.
All right, so I got
It's a scrimmage.
a scrimmage. Man, they were charging that much for fucking tickets to that game tonight in New Orleans, and the fucking stands are empty. Fuck y'all, dude. I'm glad I didn't go. Look at that shit. They was charging like $300 a ticket, and there ain't even nobody in the seats. Like, in that area, too. I mean, there's literally nobody there.
All right, what's your last?
My last one is for Colin. Georgia Tech is 3-8 on the year. But Georgia at Georgia Tech, Georgia's minus 28.5. Over under is 46.5, which tells you how shitty their offense is. I like Georgia Tech just because they're at home in the ATL playing in front of a total of 5 people. I'm taking Georgia Tech plus 28. Just because Georgia's offense hasn't been great this year, but I expect them to fucking run all day long and not have to pass the ball once. I expect Georgia to have to pass 8 times, really.
If I were taking anything in that game, I would pick the under, just because of our defense and our struggles on offense. I wouldn't pick the points for us because I don't know if we cover the game for that much.
I like Georgia Tech plus 28.5, son.
Oh yeah. That makes.
I mean, they might get like a
makes
field goal or two, but we get there. Son.
All right, let's move on to NFL. Okay, getting some followers in here.
Yeah, what happened, son?
Let's go.
Shout
Our
out to
boy
the
Nate.
cameraman.
Let's go. Hey, don't forget, follow the Instagram at Let's Be Honest Sports. That's where we pretty much release most of our, updates.
It's all connected, but people tend to follow Instagram more than I thought. But we also got a Facebook at Let's Be Honest Sports. And follow our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Subscribe, same shit.
Also, like
Hey,
this video.
keep in mind, anybody who don't know shit about YouTube, if you have a Gmail account, that's all you gotta use to fucking make a YouTube account, is your Gmail account. That's all it is.
You pretty much already have one.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
just
much.
your-
You
it's
just
your
gotta sign
your
in.
Gmail account.
That's your sign in.
So,
But
we're gonna
like I
move
said,
on.
I'm taking Georgia Tech plus 28.5. I know we kind of dragged ass on the college football this week, but there was a lot of shit to talk about, and plus we don't have to go to work tomorrow because tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Shout out to that.
We also we know that our videos are kind of lengthy, but we really want to try and establish some different ways of getting together, whether it's Skype or whatever it is, to try and put out more content. So like we can talk earlier in the week about rankings and then about upcoming matchups, or like in a weekend reaction rankings, then upcoming matchups. But it's just, I mean, y'all know we're brand new, we're trying to grow and just kind of trying to play it by ear at this point.
We
So.
will make it happen.